Joe, the new rules. We all have our opinions on it, I think. The pitch clock and the shift ban are probably the two biggest ones, but let's start with the others. The bigger bases and the limited pickoffs. The bases, this to me might have more of a hidden effect on the game, and it's very difficult to look at this as a rule change, something they're implementing that is going to hurt a player or like even pitchers. Like, we think that it's about injury as much as anything else, but it's also about maybe giving teams a little bit more of an incentive to run a little bit, not just hit and run, but actually try to steal bases. Can you think of a downside of this? I mean, it's going to force pitchers to be better at holding runners. It's going to force pitchers and catchers to be more in sync. It's going to, there's going to be more strategy here. And that goes hand in hand with the limited pickoffs. Is there a downside to the bigger bases by itself? Because I can't find one really.
No, I mean, I think if you're complaining about bigger bases, then you're really the pick your battles adage. Yeah, I mean, the pick your battles adage really comes into play here. No, I mean, listen, baseball is built right now, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, it's built on models. It's built on analytic models, and the ability for a guy to steal a base successfully 75% of the time or better is pretty much the index for whether or not teams are going to let that player run. And if you give that player an extra 3.5, 4 inches to get from 74% to 77% success rate, it's going to improve batters and teams' willingness for guys to run. So I've been saying this since the get-go. I'm all about putting the game back in motion. It's one of the most sorely needed pieces of the game. When there's runners on base, the game just is too similar to when there's no runners on base. And so I think, anything that we can do to get guys running again is going to be a positive.
So there's a good and a bad to this, I think, the bigger bases and the limited pickoffs, because in limited pickoffs, and we'll talk more about that in a second too, but I think there's two sides to this. One, this obviously promotes more athleticism as well. And I think we definitely need to see that. We want to see more guys on the field that can not only hit, but run and play defense and things like that. And I think a lot of the changes, the shift ban comes into play here as well for both outfielders and especially second basemen. But we're going to be talking about athletes and range, and teams are going to draft and develop at least a little bit differently based on the rules of the game. But I think in combination with the designated hitter, having the designated hitter in both leagues, that allows you to keep that one guy on your roster, or maybe even two guys on your roster that aren't really that good defensively, but they hit, and you want to keep them in the league. The Nelson Cruzes and the JD Martinez of the world, and there's lots of others too. Kyle Schwarber is going to land here. He's already not good defensively, just passable, but because there's a DH in both leagues, you get to keep that guy around. But you also, because of the rules of the game, are going to look for more athleticism as well. And that's not kicking a JD Martinez or a Nelson Cruz out of the league because the DH is in play for all 30 teams. But the limited pickoffs, Joe, I don't really love this, because you know what this is going to do in my mind? This is going to slow the game down, because now pitchers are going to hold that ball a little bit. I don't know how long this is going to be in play. I don't know if this is just going to turn out to be some sort of test and they get rid of it. I don't know. Pitchers are going to hold the ball. They are going to step off on occasion. They are going to, and I understand there's a pitch clock, but they're not going to give that base up. They're not going to give it up. They're going to hold that ball. So you get that runner on base and you get the extra few seconds. You're not getting a pitch in 15 seconds. They're going to take the full allotment. And then when they do make a pickoff move, the pitch clock obviously starts over. So when they get the ball back, I think in a way, considering the other rules, the limited pickoff is going to slow some things down. Hey, it's Jason Churchill. To get the full episode, as well as every other episode of the podcast, past and future, subscribe for as little as $5 per month by going to bit.ly/getthepod. That's bit.ly/getthepod, all one word. A link you can also find on my Twitter profile. Hey, thanks for checking out Baseball Things.